Good Friday morning, everybody. Welcome to another live edition of Kiwanis Connects, coming to you from the WWDBTV studios in the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada, site of the next Super Bowl coming up in 2 weeks. God help us all. Thank you for watching. If you're watching us on Facebook, YouTube, we appreciate it. Of course, you can always call us at 702-992-3207. And in about 1 week from now, you can check the WWDBTV network channel on Roku, not only for all the great Kiwanis Connect shows and guests that we have, but the plethora of options you have of shows to watch. Joining me as always, see if I can do this right. Look at it, I did it right again. There she is right there on screen.
It's like, let me go.
Doc Val, how are you, my friend? That's right. This is like, yeah, how are you, my friend?
I am absolutely fabulous. And I'm in an echo chamber from MIT. And so, like I told you last week, I am traveling everywhere this week. So.
You are, and we saw you here in Vegas a couple of days ago on a quick stop and joining the downtown Kiwanis Club over at Marsigliano's Pizzeria and More. That's a cheap plug, so I can get them to sign up next week. But anyway, we had our monthly social in person. It was great to see you and everybody that came out. And listen. People think because you're no longer in the position of governor that you stop doing everything.
I know.
But nothing could be further from the truth, because I think you're doing as much, if not more now.
You know, it's just like, I thought I was retiring. And so people kept saying, oh, you retired. It's like, oh my goodness. I think I lied to Andy.
Speaking of Andy. How is he enjoying time now as a past first gent?
He actually is doing woodworking projects and all that kind of stuff. He broke out the drill.
Right on. So, because the reason I ask about Andy, obviously he's not with you. I'm presuming he's back at home in Cali. Is that correct?
Show.
All right.
Or we'll be watching the show this morning.
Good, because, I mean, he's my #1 fan for bad dad jokes. That's why I want to make sure he's going to be listening. And today, not only do I have 5, but I got a bonus one in honor of our esteemed colleague here, Governor Val, immediate past Governor Val. So without that, listen, folks, we got a great show coming at you today. If you remember, a couple of months ago, we had a show about human trafficking and all of that. A detective up in Sacramento. We had Gail on. Bob was on, the president, the founding president of the Kiwanis Star Club. He's with us today. We also have a gentleman from a company called Thorn, which, by the way, does not have an acronym for anything. A thorn is a thorn, and we'll get to that why. And, of course, at the top of the hour, as we progress into the final quarter, Val on the road updates, and, again, the aforementioned bad dad joke. So without any further ado, my friend, shall I introduce our guests?
Absolutely.
All right.
The reason why I'm wearing blue today is because January Awareness Month, and the color is blue. And I may not be wearing the right blue, but like logo going on, and so it's got it going on. Anybody wants our gear, but I'm doing that in honor of this amazing topic. So take it away.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. With that, first, let me introduce, he is the Vice President of Business Operations and Strategic Impact from Thorn. Please welcome John Starr. Great last name from, of course, if you're here in Vegas. And, of course, sitting nice and comfortably on his recliner at home, the way most presidents should be sitting. He is the founding president of the Kiwanis Star Club, Mr. Bob Verzello. Good morning, guys. How you doing today?
Good morning. I'm fine.
Yeah, really excited.
Welcome. So I know, Bob, you're in Cali. I forgot to ask you, John, where are you? Are you also in California?
I am in very cold New England at the moment. We have a few inches of snow on the ground and already hoping for spring.
All right. So we are coast to coast today. Of course, our show is watched literally internationally. We appreciate everybody for checking in. So, Val, why don't you start us off with a little background history on kind of our platform for these gentlemen, then we'll bring them in.
So, I was sharing with you guys a little bit earlier, even though we have a serious topic, we try to enjoy each other. So we may ask something inappropriate and just look at us and go, with it, been here before with us. And so in starting this whole Kiwanis Star Club there, when Bob started really pulling the pieces together, and so love, Bob, why Star?
My son-in-law works at Thorn, and he was telling me about the dark side of child sex trafficking, and I thought about my Kiwanis Club. I was president of the Placerville Club at the time, and I thought about my club, and I said, this is something that our volunteers in Kiwanis need to learn about and understand better. So we set up a speaker list of everybody from our district attorney to FBI task force to local law enforcement to county council to representatives from Thorn, representatives from Three Strands Global, and a couple of other nonprofits in this space, and basically found out a lot about it. And I learned more really than I wanted to learn. And it was hard not to respond after learning about how devastating this can be for our young people. And so we decided to try to make it a district project to get involved. And that morphed into a larger thing of a club at your recommendation, Val. And so here we are. We have a new club of 30 people. We're out raising money. We're out trying to get the word out to our key clubs and our builders clubs. And we've engaged with 3 nonprofit organizations and with the local law enforcement. We have been asked to help sponsor a law enforcement organization that was founded in Santa Barbara County for statewide sharing of information amongst law enforcement agencies in human trafficking. There are organizations in that cover homicide and drug enforcement and so on, but there wasn't one for human trafficking. Well, now there's one for human trafficking here in California, and we've been asked to partner with them. So that's exciting.
No, wow. That absolutely is. Yeah, that's a great partnership there, right?
Yep.
So
Thorn is one of our partners, and one of the initial partners. We spent some time with Julie Cordua, who is their CEO, as we were forming this organization, and she was a big help. And John Starr here is here representing Thorn today. Thanks, John.
So, yeah, absolutely. So, John, let's give a little history on Thorn. I mean, we can go to the website, and 2 very prominent names were involved in the founding of Thorn. Can you give a little history on the company startup and how they got involved?
Sure. Well, first of all, just really grateful to be here, to be able to have this platform and chat with all of you. And of course, Julie sent her regards. So Thorn started about 11 or 12 years ago, originally founded by Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore. You may have seen their of Ashton's testimony in front of Congress. And the organization started as an anti-trafficking organization. And of course, we still build legacy tools in that space, primarily for law enforcement to ensure that they have the tools they need on the front lines to combat that issue. In 2019, Thorn won the TED Audacious Award, which essentially posits the idea of what would the world be like if we funded nonprofits like we do startups. And so around that time, aligned with Thorn's focus shift, while still heavily involved in the counter trafficking space, a more focused shift to an adjacent harm, which is essentially what we call CSAM, or child sexual abuse media. So it's the actual crime scene footage of child sexual abuse and how that proliferates on the internet. And so on that time, we really anchored in our our really core superpower, which is building technology. So we're built a lot more like a tech company than we are like, I would say, a traditional nonprofit. So we have software engineers, data scientists, product managers, and we really flex our muscles by building technology for the front line. So that could be law enforcement, who are in the day-to-day front lines of trying to find and identify and rescue child victims. It could mean trust and safety teams at large tech companies, small tech companies, to try to really combat the issue of CSAM on the internet. Or it could be, of course, the true front lines, which are parents and young people, and helping make sure they have the tools and resources and knowledge and resiliency that they need to help protect themselves, and to all really rolling up into a better internet for all of us.
John, let me ask you a question. How long have you been with Thorn?
Yeah, so I have been with Thorn for around 4 years now. Before that, I spent the better half of 2 decades really working at the intersection of harm and the internet. So I worked at government, I worked at a nonprofit space, and I also worked in the private industry. And so really in 2020, Julie asked me to come on board and help bring her vision for a better internet to life here at Thorn.
Right on. I appreciate that. All right, guys, we're going to stop right there. And guys and gals, sorry, Val, I always say guys in general terms. We've set the stage for the background and what it's about. When we come back on the other side, now we're going to learn a little bit more of the nitty gritty and what exactly this technology does for the front line, and the partnership that the Kiwanis Club, the Star Kiwanis Club, and Thorn have, and how we can help flourish that across the globe, really. You're watching Kiwanis Connects. Hey, don't go anywhere. More to come. We'll be right back. Thanks to the efforts of the Cal Neva District of Kiwanis, there's been a Kiwanis presence in the Rose Bowl Parade for more than half of the New Year's Day Parade since 1921. In the past, our efforts were funded through club sponsorships, outside sponsorships, by the generous donations from Kiwanis members or club foundations sponsoring riders on the Kiwanis float itself. The District Rose Float Committee handles fundraising, and the Kiwanis Rose Float Club secures and organizes the volunteers. When Kiwanis International wanted to sponsor a large portion of our float, momentum from our clubs was lost due to any fundraising. The time has come to have our clubs increase their involvement in the fundraising efforts. But the Rose Float Kiwanis Club needs the help from all Kiwanis clubs, its members, and businesses to answer the call for support. Visit our Kiwanis Rose Float page on Facebook. Help make sure that Kiwanis International will let the world continue to smell the roses. At Kiwanis Family House, we build communities and give hope. But when someone is sick, families can be tested in ways they never imagined. Parents have to travel far from home to get their child the complex medical care needed. They may have to miss work and worry about paying the bills, and all the while, trying to keep their family together. That's where Kiwanis Family House comes in. Kiwanis Family House provides a home away from home for families with sick family members receiving treatment at nearby hospitals. Families stay at Kiwanis Family House for as long as they need. This allows them to be close to their sick family member and each other during a stressful time. Every day, Kiwanis Family House witnesses how families are a powerful source of support and healing during difficult times due to illness or trauma. Every day, Kiwanis Family House celebrates the importance of family and the power of love and support. All right, welcome back to Kiwanis Connects. As the commercials are going, John and I are on this side talking about the commercials. When was music added to that commercial? Val, I don't know if you noticed. That's how we roll it. We just roll. Val, I don't know if you noticed, that was the premiere of the 1-minute version of the Kiwanis Float commercial that we did. So we'll get that out to all parties involved.
It was fantastic. Thank you so much. That looked so good.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate that. All right. Thank you for watching us today on Kiwanis Connects. We have the president of the Kiwanis Star Club. He is Mr. Bob Verzello, and John Starr, vice president, business ops and strategic impact for Thorn, a company that has developed software to help with human trafficking, frontliners, information purposes, and all that stuff. Did I explain that as well as a layman can, John?
You crushed it. Yeah.
Crushed it. Like a soda can under my car, I crushed it. All right. So Val, why don't you take it away? Let's get into the meat and potatoes here. Go ahead.
Well, really brought this to light for me was having worked on university campuses where we use products like Discord and those kind of things. I know that you all have been instrumental in being able to go on those massive online games and be able to find those people that are trying to groom students. And so most people don't understand when you say we've got engineers and all that kind of stuff, what that really means. So I was hoping you would help people like me.
Yeah, for sure. So again, I think that we were built a little bit differently than a traditional nonprofit. So again, we have about 70+% of our staff is technical. And so our flex again is ensuring that the humans on the front line have a technology that they need to do their jobs. And so what that looks like for tech companies is that they of course have a vested interest in keeping their communities safe. They also have legal obligations to report, again, what's called child sexual abuse material to, in the US anyways, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And historically, how a lot of that content had been found was reactively. So a human on the website, they see the content, they have to report the content, and the company then responds. Mm-hmm. And so what if we lived in a world where we build technology to help those platforms be more proactive, to leverage that technology to scale their trust and safety teams to help find that content without having a user to see it. And so we built a product called Safer, which we do sell to tech companies. And it's essentially a kind of all-in-one CSAM detection tool. And so we build a lot of machine learning algorithms. On top of it, we connect a lot of the ecosystem that relies on these reports. We built a review tool because we want to meet these companies where they are. And if they don't have the tools to do it, we want to make sure that they have the tools to do it with. And so we built a review tool with wellness in mind. We just make it really easy to do that. We brought that product to the market in 2020. And right now we have almost 50 customers, and we're processing about 7 billion pieces of content for them a month, which is incredible because each one of those could be a potential item file of child sexual abuse material that needs to be removed and reported.
So I think you just kind of touched on the line that I want to ask, and I don't know if you can go any deeper into this or not, but this information that's stored is not, as you said earlier, is not necessarily just devised for the front line, but parents as well, and I presume schools and everything else. Can you just give us a broad stroke without legally, whatever you can share, just generally, like what kind of information is shared in there? I mean, is it addresses? Is it like a pedophile filing thing? When a sex, what kind of information is available? Let me ask that.
Yeah, for sure. So separating the two pieces, I think, for kind of a moment. So you have a company's perspective and what they're actively trying to remove, or should be trying to kind of find and remove, could be anywhere from media, so an image or a video, a string of text that's trying to like extort a minor, groom a minor, and then you have their responsibility to find that, to capture that information, and each company is going to be different on what they have, and then they have a legal obligation to report, to package that up and report it to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They have analysts there that will review this content and help send leads to, like the law enforcement officer that you had on previously, to investigate, to go knock on doors, to go check out that particular lead. Separately from that, it's really it's a key part of the work that we do is the light that you're shining on it and the work that you're doing. And that's to ensure that parents and young people are aware and are building up knowledge and resource to help proactively have conversations with young people, to proactively ensure that when young people talk to young people, because we know that's where they go first, that they're getting the information that they need to protect themselves. And so we actually have two prevention brands. We have a brand called Thorn for Parents. If you go into Google and just type Thorn for Parents, it'll be the first one that pops up. And what's really cool about this particular resource is it meets parents where they are. So this topic can be a really hard conversation to talk about on Kiwanis Connects. It can be even harder to talk to your young child about it. And so we give prompts and helps meet parents where they are. If they're not feeling comfortable yet, we give them a way to introduce the concept. If they're feeling very comfortable, we give them resources to really dive in. And then secondly, we have our teen brand, which is a brand called No Filter. And what's really cool about the No Filter brand is it's based on youth voices. So it's not John coming and telling youth exactly what they need to do. It's young people talking to young people. And it really can be powerful because we know that's where young people go first, is they go to their friends and peers. And so ensuring that knowledge is shared, that trust is there, and they're helping each other out is really important.
You know, one of the things that when we were starting STAR, and I know, Bobby, you know this really well, is people were saying in the very beginning, as adults, it's like, we can't even use the word sex and Kiwanis in the same sentence. And we were like, yeah, you can, and you really need to, because this affects us globally. Because, you know, Kiwanis is in over 84 territories and countries in the world. And so I know, Bob, as you were going through this, you said, you know, we have the largest population of folks that we can tie into your teen product. And so, Bob, how are you guys doing with that contest that you guys set up?
Well, we're changing the guard with our lieutenant governors in the key clubs right now. So we have an engagement meeting with them, but we are on the way. We've raised some money for scholarships to offer scholarships. John, so you're aware, we're in the process of developing a scholarship program for young people to develop a TikTok video or Instagram video that addresses this subject peer-to-peer, so that, you know, our Kiwanis clubs, we have a couple 100,000 people in our Kiwanis key clubs nationwide. And, you know, these are people that are going into school every day. You know, for some of our viewers, one of the things we learned from our district attorney and FBI task force and so on was, you know, we as parents now have done a pretty good job of eliminating the threat from the white van in the near the playground. But what we don't realize is that when our kids are online, every day they're being exposed to somebody attempting to groom them. And oftentimes they don't know it, and the parents don't know it. We don't know how much we're exposing our kids to just by giving them a device in their hands. And so, and they don't want to hear it from me. They don't want to hear it from their teacher. They don't want to hear it from John, as John said. They want to hear it from each other. And so, as we work with the student leaders in all of our key clubs, this is a perfect opportunity for them to let their leadership skills shine, and a perfect opportunity for them to address this topic when their peers are the intended victims of this.
John, can you, or Bob, maybe the both of you or either one of you can share information, share something. But here we are, we're talking generalities about what it does and what it provides and everything else. But can you share with us, of course, changing names to protect the innocent, of course, as they say. Can you share with us a real life story that happened where Thorn got involved to either save, protect, or where the product was used successfully? Can you share a story for us?
Yeah, for sure. So I think a most recent example is through, and we have countless examples too, so we can kind of go in each vertical of work that we do. But a most recent example is we've built technology to help. So the way that the broader internet community has responded to this is there has been a documented set of pictures and videos that a human has seen, has identified as child sexual abuse material, and there's a way to capture what's called a hash value. And a hash value is essentially a digital fingerprint of an image. So if I took a picture of us right now, it would have a very unique strings of ones, zeros, and kind of numbers and the like. And so the way the broader community has responded to this, and by the way, kind of other harms, is capturing hash values of what we call known child sexual abuse material. And so that can be really effective at helping find content that already exists, that's just circulating, that's being traded. What it doesn't do is help identify net new content. So content that hasn't been seen before. And that's the content that's really important, because that could be an active abuse situation. It could be a particular child who needs help now. And so because of the technical chops that we have on our team, because of access to data that we have, because of partners in the space, we built a machine learning classifier. And this machine learning classifier is really targeted and is best at finding net new content. So content that hasn't been seen before. And we heard from a customer that a customer meaning a major tech platform, they deployed this classifier and they found a broad collection of content that they had never seen before. They reported and escalated it to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And we heard back later that report led to the arrest and the identification of a child who was actively being abused. And this happens at tremendous scale. Like I said, we're processing 7 billion pieces of content for our customers a month. That relates into hundreds of thousands of potential flags for CSAM. Behind every one of those flags is a potential example like that.
I saw Val's reaction when you shared that, all of this saved a child. And when you hear all of that going on, it kind of stuns you for a little bit, I think. Is this platform available worldwide, or is it just designed for the United States?
So what's really cool about the platform, and again, the product's called Safer. What's really cool about Safer and why it does scale so large is it because it's not reliant on having to change language, right? Having to translate in other languages. It's code, right? Bob knows this, right? It's code. And so it's universal. And so it does scale. We're definitely in platforms that are around the world. And it can be a really powerful tool.
Something you haven't mentioned, John, is your Spotlight tool. And I will tell you that the head of the local FBI task force and chief of a local police department were both guests of ours at a meeting. And they said they use your product every day and that you really undersell it. You provide this product free to law enforcement agencies throughout the United States and Canada. Can you tell us a little bit about Spotlight?
Yeah, Bob, you probably know as much about Spotlight as anybody. Like it's my guess. Spotlight is Thorn's legacy tool. So it was the first tool that the organization built. It's really designed to help frontline investigators who are investigating child sex trafficking. So it's a tool that helps identify young people in essentially sex ads, and ensuring that that information is translated and provided as quickly as possible to law enforcement to investigate those instances and remove those children from that situation. And of course, it has had a tremendous impact in the space.
And I can tell you that from my discussions with local law enforcement is your tool is rescuing children all the time, every day. Your tool is out there rescuing kids.
Really appreciate that.
Well, giving law enforcement the opportunity to rescue kids.
For sure.
Right. John, can you give us the website? I'd like our producer to put it up on a crawl underneath us so people can get more information. So what is the website?
Yeah, let me just pull it up real quick. But it's going to be getsafer.io. But I'll make sure I toss it in the chat too.
Also, too, is it thorn dot something?
Thorn.org. Yeah.
Okay, so we have that one also. John, do you need him to repeat that again? Give me the first one again.
Yeah, it's Get Safer. So GETSAFER.io, and then thorn.org is your org website.
Excellent.
Oh, like thorn in the side, right?
Thorn in the side, yeah.
Well, it's funny you say that, Val, because before we went on, I asked John. Usually we hear company names like this that titles have acronyms for something else, and so I asked him. I said, "What does Thorn stand for?" And he says, "Absolutely nothing. It is a thorn is a thorn, like the way a thorn protects a rose." And I'm like, "All right, I get it." So, yeah, I think it's brilliant in a lot of ways, simplistic in how it protects, our kids for sure.
One of the main amazing things for me is we have over 30,000 key clubbers, which are our high school level, and they're chatting with each other all the time. And they never know when someone's popping in and starting to have a conversation. And it's actually happened where all of a sudden you'll realize that there's someone on there that shouldn't be on there. But the students are already sharing personal information. And so this club, the Kiwanis Star Club, is bringing to light something that affects every single Kiwanis club, no matter what their sizes or where they're located. And so by having you on our show, we're putting it out there that maybe you might not want to focus in on this, but you might want to do a presentation. You might want to have your local law enforcement that's dealing with this come in and talk about this and the platforms that people are using, or the multiplayer games that they're using, or their midnight movie chats that they do.
No, absolutely. The key is to make them feel comfortable to want to step forward to talk to somebody, especially a peer, right?
Yeah, I mean, I should have mentioned this earlier. We have probably one of the top researchers in the world in this space, constantly engaging and talking to young people. And one of the things that we find often is that, to Val, to your point, we're so uncomfortable talking about these topics where we sort of like bridge around it, and the young people are filling the void. So we try to talk about like bad people on the internet, and they're like, oh, like creeps. We're like, yeah, like creeps, or like, have you ever been asked to share content that you're uncomfortable with? And they're like, oh, like nudes, and we're like, oh yeah, like nudes.
Yeah,
so like they're already talking about this. I think to your point, right? So it's one of the most important thing I think, excuse me, that a parent or an important adult in a child's life can do is ensure that they're building trust. That when the young person gets in a tough spot, and we were all young people once, right? When that young person gets in a tough spot, when they need help, they know that mom, dad, auntie, uncle, friend is going to help them out and not be mad at them or make them feel worse. I can't tell you how many times we talk to survivors and they say, man, I could have asked for help here, but I didn't.
You mentioned about starting young and whatnot. My producer here, JPEG, he was born old, so he wouldn't qualify for that. But anyway, so Bob, so let's talk about the partnership.
I was going, wait a minute, I'm still young.
Oh, no, but I didn't, right. No, we all are, except John. He's older than dirt.
But, Bob, I was going to ask Bob, because I know Lauren had shared a story about how our students are sharing stories online and all that kind of stuff. And I can't remember the details, but I think for a Kiwani, and I want to add to the list, when John talks an auntie, an uncle, a grandma, a mom, a dad, and a friend, I want the next word to be Kiwanian, that they feel comfortable talking to a Kiwanian and saying, when we were on our Zoom, we had this creep come on, and we blocked him, but how can we make sure that in our next meeting that doesn't happen? I want them to feel comfortable being able to say that to us and
Right.
make us comfortable in hearing it. Because, like you said, our kiddos, they're on top of this. They got the language, they've got special words for it. I had to tell you how naive I am. I didn't even want to put on Facebook, what is a squishmallow? Because I thought it was code for something. And so I finally had to email somebody and say, when they're talking about their squishmallows and everybody has a squishmallow, what is that? And I found out it's a stuffed toy. And now I actually have a collection of squishmallows because people started sending me these things. But our students are so much more aware, and I think we need to be comfortable. So
Yeah, I don't know if you have any of this information at your fingertips, John, but the statistics I've heard about children being asked for like inappropriate pictures online are staggering. When our kids are going online, do you have any of those statistics, John?
Yeah. So like among kids that, so 1 in 5 minors have reported having an online sexual interaction with an adult. 20% right off the bat. Among the young people, the children that have shared out pictures of themselves nude, 42% reported that they shared that content with an adult. And what we're starting to see now is that behavior is really happening younger. And so a lot of times we were talking about having those conversations with kids. Again, Thorn for Parents is a great resource for that. You got to have it earlier than you even think. A lot of parents will think, I have time. They're like in 5th grade. I have time to do this. You really have to start to engage those early because that sort of defense mechanism has not been created yet with those young people. And I will also say this, that the internet's not going away. The internet is used in schools to have this conversation right here. They're not selling textbooks in schools anymore. It's all on the internet. And so I think as the generation of adults in this space, it's really important for us to understand that it's not as simple as taking things away. It has to be more complex, and it has to be built on trust, has to be built on knowledge sharing, and providing that young people have the awareness and the resiliency, and parents do too, while also still ensuring that the rest of the ecosystem, so the law enforcement officers, have the best technology, the best tools they need to ensure these tech companies are really investing in the tools and tech that they need to help ensure that young people and all people are safe in their sites. But it really does take a village, which I know really resonates with this group.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this, as I always do, because I'm just one of those people that will do it. The message of availability of this product to be made available to really everybody as a tool to be able to open the doors for conversation with children, youth, whatever it is. I'm sure you guys do a boatload of marketing, but I would be remiss if I didn't remind really everybody watching, and you guys specifically, we can do customized commercials here at our studio. And we do like the commercials you saw previously were done here for Kiwanis clubs. We can do commercials for anything. I would be, the proceeds of those commercials go to keeping this show on the air. I would be remiss in suggesting, especially if we want to attack or communicate directly with our Kiwanis clubs, because obviously with Bob here, there's obviously, with all the clubs around the world, there's got to be a connection with all the key clubbers and youth. So we're involved with that. We can help expedite getting that communication established. And I would be remiss if I didn't suggest that we somewhere along the line here, John or Bob, we don't talk about putting a commercial together to promote what you're doing and what's available. And we can either pinpoint directly to Kiwanis and or all service clubs or whatever. but that would be a much useful tool to particularly market to the service organizations such as Kiwanis. I'm just putting it out there for consideration.
Okay. Thank you,
Yeah,
John.
that'd be incredible. We're really excited about the partnership. I think one of the other opportunities is I know that the vision and the mission of Kiwanis is so community based and so focused on children. It's a great opportunity for us to help you arm your community with the resources and tech and kind of knowledge that you need. So I think it's a really powerful opportunity.
And I know we've got some international trustees that are watching us. I wanted to say hello to you guys. I know you're meeting this week. And this is something that I really want to take forward on the international level. And so I've been talking with Bob and Gail and a couple other folks that we're trying to get on the international agenda. Our convention is in the 4th of July weekend. But we're building up to that. We want to make sure that these resources are now. We shouldn't be doing a 5-year plan that says in 5 years, we're going to roll out a communications program. Because you are saving kids every single day. And I'm not normally a really publicly emotional person, but when you say that you know that there are children being saved as we speak because of what you do, and the fact that we're bringing that to the attention of parents, that is my passion zone. I have godkids, I have grandkids, I have nieces and nephews. And to know that when you say 1 in 5, that means at least 4 small people in my circle have been negatively impacted. That's huge.
Hey, Val, I don't know. I may be throwing spaghetti on the wall with this one, but I'm wondering if there's a partnership that can be developed between last week's guest, Andre Lewis, and his literary engineer program of providing books and materials to perhaps the children that have been part of an unfortunate situation, that in order to remind them that they are children, to provide books to them and some tools like that to kind of help them ease away from that negative situation. So I'm wondering if there's a open possibility to connect Andre and John together just to chat, if nothing else.
I think it's a perfect linkage. And one of the reasons, John, and the audience that's out there that's listening, is that Andre Lewis puts together his literacy engineering, and it represents all kids, because there's a lot of people out there that think that this only happens to little blonde girls between the ages of 8 and 12, and that no other child is impacted. So we don't need to worry about them. So if we just focus in on the little cute ones, right, that we're safe. And my little boy or my child is not going to be impacted. So I think being able to put it in a multicultural perspective with the language and the images that the kids are used to would be perfect. So
yeah, because to have him develop a book, like you said, geared for these unfortunate kids that get caught up in something like this, I think would just be off the charts.
Yeah.
As a tool. I'm trying to stall for like 30 seconds before we go to break, because I see JPEG back here trying to type the websites that John Starr was kind enough to provide him. And I'm watching him on the screen. He's trying to put them on the tracker, on the ticker below, but his eyesight is really bad. So he's going back and forth, and I can't have him go to commercial until he's done typing. But Bob, what's the partnership right now that you have going on specific with Starr, with your new club? Just briefly describe what is happening between the two of you and how that's working together.
Well, we're, as you know, John, we're in the early stages of developing the club. So we have been a club for what, 5 months. So we are in the early stages. We are looking for, in working with Thorn and a couple of our other partners, including 3 Strands Global, which is focused on educational resources in the schools for teaching kids about avoiding this situation, is a signature project that we can work on. I'm going to be bold here and just say, I think we have the capability to develop something on a scale that we did with our Project Eliminate. where we partnered with, as Kiwanians, with UNICEF worldwide and eliminated neonatal tetanus in many countries across the globe. We had the opportunity to really take something that was impacting kids negatively and respond to it in a global way. This is a disease throughout the world, and it's a horrible scourge on what could otherwise be a wonderful situation for our kids. Our kids have never in the history been exposed at a level and a frequency to sexual abuse material, to potential for sex trafficking than they are now. So this has the urgency, this has the scale, and I hope that we can develop something with a special project like we did with UNICEF and eliminate that we could work with an organization like Thorn to develop a special project that targets the youth that we are concerned about in our Kiwanis clubs, in our key clubs, our builders clubs.
Right on. All right, Val, I got to have you hold that thought. We're running up against it. We're going to step aside for a final break of the show. When we come back, we'll wrap up with these gentlemen, both John and Bob. Val on the road, and of course, the Emmy Award. Is it Emmys cover internet TV? I'm not sure. But our own awards, bad dad jokes, coming at the end. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. National is a global community of clubs, members, and partners dedicated to improving the lives of children, one community at a time. Today, we stand with more than 550,000 members, from K-Kids to Key Club to Kiwanis, for all ages in over 80 countries around the world. Each community has different needs, and Kiwanis empowers members to pursue creative ways to serve the needs of children, such as fighting hunger, improving literacy, and offering guidance. Kiwanis clubs host nearly 150,000 service projects each year.
For more information, contact Herman Platsky at KiwanisClub of 29Palms.com.
Are you looking for someone to provide training to your staff? Do you need a motivational speaker about how to handle change? Do you have an upcoming event that needs an MC to handle those responsibilities? Well, look no further than longtime Las Vegas radio personality Aaron Phillips. I am local to Las Vegas, and I can blend my talents with any audience. For more information, please visit www.aaronphillipsvoice.com and book me for your next event or training needs.
I thought that was Washington. Welcome back. John and I are having a geographical conversation about where the home office of the CIA is. I don't know why, but that's the kind of silly stuff.
Virginia.
Oh, they're in Langley's in Virginia? I thought it was Washington for some reason. I don't know.
Virginia.
They're in
Where
Virginia.
were you in geography class?
Obviously, I wasn't there. I was somewhere else. That's why I missed geography. That's why I'm not a weatherman. I can't do this green wall very well with all the states. Anyway, welcome back to the final quarter of the show, coming around the clubhouse turn. Great stuff today with John Starr, Vice President of Business Operations and Strategic. I hate to see the size of your business card with that kind of title, John. That'd be a pretty big thing. And then the president of the Kiwanis Star Club, Bob Verzello, joined us today talking about technology. Thorn, I know you gave the name of the specific tech that helps monitor and protect our children from child trafficking. Some good stuff, and we'll wrap up in a moment. But as always, I hear the garage door going up. That means it's got to be time for Val on the road.
You know, my rental car looked really similar to that today, this past week. You know, they said, "Are you staying pretty local?" And I said, "Yes, I'm staying in the region." And so I've already put, I put 1,700 miles on this car this week. And so it was just like, yeah, it's pretty local. Because being on the road, that I absolutely love it. And I have to share with you, this upcoming week is going to be really exciting. And that's because it's the first time I'm going to be at a mid-year conference where I don't have any major responsibilities. I just get to get up on stage, give out awards. And it's kind of like kissing babies and shaking hands. It's going to be fun. And so our mid-year conference is in Visalia. It's the furthest south that a North Conference will ever be. And so please know that we're going to have a huge gala and be raising money so that we can do more scholarships. And we're going to do a matching grant with the Star Kiwanis Club through our children's fund. And so in order to be able to raise that money, I need people to spend money. Go on the auction website. And so I'll be down in Visalia at the end of the week. But during the week, going to a couple of crab feeds. And I actually get to do most of my travel on Zoom. So I have a Asia Pacific meeting. And so we're making stuff happen. And so, Bob, when you mentioned that you think we have a worldwide project, literacy was my impetus when I partnered with Douglas Chadwick and Kelly Pena and a couple other folks to put together the Kiwanis Literacy Club Foundation. And that Kiwanis Literacy Club Foundation ended up becoming one of the 3 pillars. And what we do with Kiwanis Literacy Club Foundation is one of the 3 pillars that our international past president, Bert West, picked up as part of his initiative, which was the Literacy Project. So your vision is well on the path of being able to move forward. And if I ever become international president, I think it's going to happen.
Wow. Wow. Did we just get like a major tease drop scoop there?
Yeah, we did.
I think I may have dripped a little bit.
Wow.
Does Andy know?
Does Andy know?
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, right. If we that sonic boom you just heard come out of California, ladies and gentlemen, was Andy just going, what the hell?
That was my husband falling out of the recliner.
Exactly. Exactly. Wow. Well, if that does happen, I want a board seat doing something, even if it's just sitting on a board somewhere in the corner. That'll work for me as long as it's a comfy 2x4.
We'll be doing this on the international level on a weekly basis from all over the world.
Wow, that's cool.
Keep dripping. Take it away, Aaron. Save me.
All right, I'm going to save you. First of all, let's thank our guests because I don't want to try to send them out after my bad dad jokes because they may not. By the way, Val, they may not laugh. That's true. I do appreciate you letting when I stepped aside before we started, letting John know that I do these things at the end. I appreciate you giving him a heads up because I wouldn't want him to fall out of his chair without warning. So, so why don't you wrap up with the guys, Val, before we go into bad dad jokes?
You know, it's so amazing to have you on here. My mom is actually watching in the living room with my grandmother. And they were just all thumbs up that this is probably one of the most important topics. And so if there is one thing you want to leave us with that can be a really amazing wrap, John, I'll start with you. And then Bob, because you're my wonderkin, I get to give you a hug really soon. I'll have you go. So
yeah. Well, I just hope I can stay for the bad dad jokes. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm firmly planted in my seat. So, as before the show, I think a good kind of note to leave on. So before the show, was talking with Val. We were talking about the topic being heavy, and I think what gives me hope is that most people who work in this space are incredibly optimistic, and so the optimism that this effort brings, that you're bringing to the issue, is really exciting. And so what keeps me going are efforts like this to continue to raise awareness and ensure that it really does take effect. It's not just Thorn, it's not just Kiwanis, it's all of us working together to create a better world. So just really appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right on. All right, are we ready for him?
Well, Bob, we gotta do Bob.
Oh, I'm sorry. I go ahead, Bob. Final thoughts. I apologize.
Oh, well, I think this is good that we're partnering with organizations like Thorn. When we look to partner, starting out, we looked for organizations, and Thorn is one of them, Three Strands Global is another, that were well-funded, that were well-respected, that had good ratings on charitynavigator.org, that were just above board, well-respected nonprofits serving the community that we want to join in serving. So I just wanted to put that out there that these are well-respected organizations making a difference in this space, and we should be honored and proud to partner with them.
Absolutely.
Right on. Right on. I apologize. I didn't mean to jump the gun, but I just realized that I'm under the pressure. I got Mama Flo listening. Did you say your grandmother's listening to the show? And your father?
No, my grandma Alma and then Andy.
Oh, okay. And Andy, I'm sorry. Okay. So, well, Andy doesn't pressure me anymore. He's in my corner, but I got Mama Flo and your grand. That's high pressure. I got to meet here. And man, if Mama Flo wants to join you on camera to laugh with you, I'm okay with that because I may need her protection if these don't go over very well. All right, here we go. I got 6 today. Today's a 6-pack edition of bad dad jokes. No, these, no ice jokes. Sorry. By the way, I only read them. I don't write them. Let's remember that. I'm only the messenger. Here's number 1. How does dry skin affect you at work? You don't have any elbow grease to put into it. All right. John shaking his head. Bob smirked and Val coughed in her hand. All right. I'm off to a good start. What did the janitor say when he jumped out of the closet? Supplies! John, you're doing a good job trying to stay stoic, my friend. Even Bob got a little laughter, but that's my home run with Val. I should stop right there while I'm ahead. I want to know, is Mama Flo and Grandma at least laughing? That's all I want to know.
Yes, they are.
All right, good. Good, then I'm doing all right. What's the best thing about Switzerland? Don't know. I don't know, but the flag is a big plus. See, Switzerland, big plus. All right, never mind. I lost my crowd. Sorry, Val. I know. That was cheesy. Yes, I'm sorry. All right, here we go. Why did Billy get fired from the banana factory? He kept throwing away the bent ones. Bananas factory. Never mind. Oh, crap. All right. Last 2. What concert costs just 45 cents?
I know.
Go ahead, John. I'll let you have it. Go.
Nickelback.
No. 50 Cent featuring Nickelback. You only were half right. And by the way, John Starr, I did see your note in there about the janitor one. Thank you very much. I'm glad you caught that. Thank you. How does a penguin build its house? It glues it together.
We have to go now.
Last one, mercifully. Do you want a box for those leftovers? No, but I'll wrestle you for them. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we hope to be back on the air next week. I know. Oh, my Lord. Why do I do these things and risk? I need to hire a new producer. All right. Sean will at least appreciate these. All right. Guys, John, thank you for spending time with us. Bob, as always, thank you. Miss Val, God, I'm concerned when I ask for final thoughts because God knows I may be asked not to do these anymore.
Oh, my final thoughts are supplies. Oh, thank you for the laugh. I really needed that. I know that, when my brain was going 8 million miles an hour, and so Bob has sent me into building a whole new world out here with John, and so your bad dad jokes, they've got to stay on board, and right. I'm so appreciative for you guys both being on here today. So, Aaron, take it away before I fall out of my chair.
I'm gonna tell you something. Since I made Mama Flo and Grandma laugh, that made my day. I'm getting messages from her in the chat room, by the way. Love you guys out there. John, Bob, thank you so much for watching. Everybody else out there, as always, thank you for watching and making Kiwanis Connects part of your Friday, where we help educate you about what's available to help our youth and community everywhere. Be kind to everybody. Why? We're all we have. Programming note, top of the hour, Permission Mission with Mary McElhatton helps you realize it's okay to talk about mortality. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week right here on Kiwanis Connects, where I got more dad bad jokes.
Thank you.